I'm so used to like ignoring that whenever like Walking Dead comes on. Like, turn on your Xbox for the extra screen experience. And I'm like, I don't want that extra screen experience.
You don't have the mental faculties to focus on a show at once. Add 3 screens to your experience.
Does it replace some of the Vita stuff?
Yeah.
Like the boom
but
boom
also
drums?
It means that like parents and kids can play together. That's the idea.
Ew. Do you have to like put 2 iPads back to back so you have the front and back screen so you can go the thumpity thump on
That's it, yep.
Ass-to-ass configuration.
See, that is not a Tearaway level.
It could be.
That is not, no.
If you think about the name Tearaway. I'm getting it out of my system before we start the E. Everyone's oh, good. Good. That's a good intro.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Devs Play Season 2, the special season in which we are looking at games that inspired Psychonauts 2, which is not today because we're looking at Tearaway Unfolded, which just came out this year, but we're making a special exception for it for the main reason that Rex is in town. Rex Crowle, who are you?
I am. I was kind of creative end-of-level guardian on Tearaway, both Tearaway on the Vita, and then Tearaway Unfolded on PS4.
Excellent.
And been at Media Molecule since the beginning, and Siobhan and all the founders, they decided to give me a chance to like lead a team and make a game. And we made a whole bunch of games that went nowhere and were a failure. And then out of that, we created Tearaway.
Excellent.
Which was in no way a failure and was a total success.
Exactly. That's why we're here. We don't have losers on our show.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, we also have Lee Petty here. Lee Petty.
Hi, Tim.
Hey, Lee Petty. I just saw you playing the excellent game Headlander.
I was.
And you are an artist.
At times.
I'm helping you with your intro.
Oh, yes. I'm an artist, and I've worked here at Double Fine for some 8 years, all of which have been momentous and joyous.
Yeah. I suspect that's why they brought you here, for your knowledge of art.
That's true, and my love of everything Media Molecule does.
Yes,
so
nice.
It's very nice. Very nice stuff.
They're not hiring right now. So
no, I gotta get it back.
Also down here, we have James Spafford.
Hi.
James,
I'm
who are you?
Spaff. I'm the community manager at Double Fine, but I used to work with Rex at Media Molecule, so this is a weird
Back when Spaff had an English accent.
Yeah, back when I used to be a different person altogether.
Has he lost his accent? That's awesome.
You know, I had to adopt an American one because.
And you used to be
here,
at your time of community managing at Media Molecule. You were community manager for like this game.
Yeah,
and this series of games.
Rex and I played this game on stage at PSX last year, and it might have been the last time I played it.
Okay, and you're going to be playing today, so we're going to have professional game playing.
At least that one section, if we get that far.
Okay,
which we will.
Excellent. So let's boot this game up and let's see what this is all about. I played all the way through this on the Vita, which was great because it had the little thumpy thump back drum things and the ripping of the cool little like Mylar, like you're opening a CD all the time. That was exciting.
Cool.
And it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful, but we'll get to that later when you see it. And Lee's been playing this game with his daughter.
I've been playing, Tearaway. We just got it, and my daughter loves it. And she took the controller from me and played for about 4 hours until I kicked her off the TV and wouldn't give the controller back.
Nice. So, it's I don't want to ask like press questions, but like, what's the
campaign?
No, the main difference between this and the Vita version, it was like expanded and then changed a lot.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, the main difference is we are making it for a totally different piece of hardware. So we just had to make it totally different to match it. Like Tearaway on the Vita was just us having so much fun with the little handheld console and making like the most handheld game we could possibly make.
A toi. Iota.
Well, I don't know if you realize the setup of us.
Yeah.
We're
us.
We're all boys.
We're not.
Yeah. Because it's really important.
Did you ever notice that Iota and Itois are the ones backwards from the other? Did you ever notice that?
Yeah. No.
I wish I'd realized that.
What were you about to say before I started talking?
No
over you?
idea. Did you also know that the symbols of
Just
IoT?
happened under. What's going on? Oh. I totally was
someone
totally
sitting on
fooled
the
by that.
remote?
I was like,
Did
wait,
you guys
what?
create this footage?
Most of it, yeah.
Because I saw that and I was like, I wonder if they created that or just sort of licensed some. It's very.
I actually thought that Austin would just come over there and messed up something with it.
Did Dan make all this?
Yeah,
The
Dan
source.
made this.
Oh, amazing.
It was like any time that we were setting up the game, well, like we're doing now. You know, if we were putting it on stage or something, this would start coming up, and all the like tech guys would be running around trying to work out like what was going on. And
That's excellent. Okay, so backing up to the original Tearaway, what forces of the universe aligned to make that whole thing come to be? You finished LBP.
yes,
2?
LBP 2,
Yep.
and there was like the opportunity to make something experimental and small for a few years. Well, we didn't really
Small
think
for
it
a
was.
few
We didn't really think it was going to take a few years, and we had a very, very tiny room. I had a tiny little team. There was who was there? There was myself and Michelle, who's the producer, who was on the project for all of the Vita version and for Unfolded as well. And then there was Nathan, who is the programmer who did a lot of the UI and the creative elements of the game. And then there was the artist Menlu and another programmer, Paul. So there were only a very, very small amount of us in this little room called the Secret Treehouse. And we just sat down and we played around with the Vita. We had this really like early version of the Vita that
So
was
wait,
terrifying.
you had no idea about the paper thing or anything
No,
like that? You're just
no.
like, we're going to make a Vita game.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Make
gonna use
something
all the crazy
totally
things that Vita can do.
Totally handheld, you know, and like really explore what it meant to make a handheld game, because we'd concentrated for several years with LBP of making the
Big.
perfect sit on the sofa on the couch game, you know, sit there, play sort of multiplayer in that style. And when we were experimenting with the handheld thing, it was like, well, how can we make this really handheld? You know, not just, oh, we'll take a game that would work on a, you know, a
Make
big,
it hard
a
to
big
see.
TV and then make it really tiny and not have as much hardware power to use. You know, we wanted to make the most of it. And that's why the paper thing came over, because we wanted to make sure that it was something that was very like tactile and very touchable. Because on the Vita and also for the PS4, you know, you've got like really nice sensors for picking up like all of these new inputs. It's not just sticks and buttons anymore.
And then how long before you're like, okay, it's gonna be paper? Or was that really the first thought? I was like, let's make it something you want to touch.
Well, the first thing I really wanted to do, it was very sort of unconstrained what we were going to do, but the one thing I really wanted to achieve was to use the back touch on the Vita to push your fingers into the game. It felt that
couldn't
would
believe that
be
worked.
like a really
I kept
cool...
looking at it like, how do they know my fingernails aren't cut? How do they know? They're just, like, whose finger is that, first of all? On the Vita version, if you touch the back screen,
I don't know. I mean,
a finger comes through the screen and you can rip through all the art. You don't know whose finger that is? It's your finger.
it's not my finger. My fingers are in all the promo trailers. You can always recognise my ring, which you know all about my ring.
The camera would like put your face in the game a lot
Yeah.
and make you this kind of sun god.
Yeah.
Whereas the idea that you were outside the world of Tearaway and you were looking through this little hole in the sun
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the people inside are like,
There you are,
Oh,
Tim.
there you are.
hello. This game got suddenly interesting to me because it's full of me. Except for it's got like 3 of us. Hi. You do feel like you're on a British children's television show. Something about this.
I actually visited.
Some of
I
those.
visited the set of the Teletubbies once.
Oh
That
yeah.
was a weird
In
place
costume?
to
Did
be.
you sneak in like a fuzzy suit just to?
I dressed up as a giant gurgling baby and
I just think it's all just like a big warehouse full of rolling green hills, right?
yeah, it is. Yeah. I think it used to be a biscuit factory.
So this is the world all papercraft stuff. So I love everything about it, but I love like some of the subtle things that you like in a video game. If you had something you jumped on, usually it'd be like a mushroom that would push your way into the air. But you have these tiny little pieces of paper that barely move when you touch on them, but they move like a real piece of paper would if you had set it down on like a little thing. It's like just like a tiny little.
Well, I think
like that little fold right there.
Something that makes me sad about the way games have gone in the past few years is that sometimes I think that they become ever more beautiful, but the level of interaction just slowly goes down and down and down, and everything has to be very static. So we wanted to come up with an engine that we could really make a very responsive world. Whether that's sort of like the hand animated elements that designers and animators and artists have set up, or whether it's like procedural code-based stuff where, like you say, things are squashing
and those like flowers that move around with the thumbsticks.
Yeah.
But so this has the look of it, like you get the impression that someone actually made all this stuff for real in advance. Like that someone did, like how much of this world, how much paper crafting did you guys do in advance of like even making the game engine work?
There was quite a lot. Yeah.
Just a bit.
Yeah, it was a terrible fire hazard in the studio.
But you didn't like mock up the levels in paper before you would do them, right? Or did you
Some
do
of
some dioramas and scenes before?
Yeah, I mean some of the assets we made, like things like a tree. Making a tree in paper is really challenging, which is kind of ironic considering what a tree is made of,
It's kind
or
of
what
grotesque when you
paper
think
is
about
made
it,
of.
too.
Yeah.
Perverse.
No, look at that.
That's how I really just. Oh, and now I can't see me, so now I'm bored.
Whoa, Secret Greg.
Oh, lurking in the background.
There he is.
Busted. Nice. Even though I talk a lot, it doesn't mean I don't want to shut you out of this because there's some art on the screen. And I know
Years of working with you to stop me to be silent.
Just
when
be quiet.
When you're talking.
Until
shake
you
your
eventually
head.
run out of air, and then you can talk.
I'll pass out.
What's the origin of the scraps, Rex? The like newspaper print.
Well, the idea was, as I've had to tell lots of newspaper journalists, we haven't got anything against newspapers, but we use newspaper as like the kind of material that shows the outside influence coming into the world of paper. And it's not that we're actually thinking that news is a bad thing. It's more that the game is all about you having your story, you going on your adventure, customizing the world, making it very personal to you. And then the newsprint kind of represents all of that other information that kind of is out there and gets in the way of you just getting on with going on your journey.
And also how print is dead,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
The infectious nature
Online.
of journalism. Yeah.
We could maybe, do a follow-up and have Kindles sort of falling out of the sky. And
what was she
crushing
looking at
you.
just then? She was really looking at something in the sky. Is it us?
Could be.
Where are we?
If we've got
She's so cute. So we haven't gotten to the part yet, but you eventually will be able to put stickers and draw little things and deface her.
Yeah.
How did you guys build this world though? I mean, did you, I know it was a custom engine, but did you use like traditional tools like Maya or whatnot to model these paper bits, or did you have sort of a custom?
Well,
Milcat balls on paper that you were cutting out.
It's a big scanner that turned paper into 3D virtual paper.
Right?
yeah. We did attempt to make the world like in 3D software, but it was never looking right. I think we knew that it was going wrong when we were just fixating too much on the actual paper texture all the time, because there's only one texture in the game. And we would try and put more creases in it or more detail in it to make things look papery. And essentially they just always look like low poly models with a paper texture slapped over them.
Right.
And it was really the Mark Darmy, our engine coder, who created our bespoke engine. The genius of him was really to think about not just simulating the end result of how does a world look when it's made out of paper, but the engine simulates the actual creative act of making stuff on paper. So you actually have all the same limitations. You follow exactly the same process as you would if you actually sat down with a big sheet of construction paper and you tried to build this little Stonehenge scene. You actually need to, cut out the sheets of paper, layer them up, put folds in, fold them up. I mean,
But
it's
you have
really
an authoring tool that actually you cut and you fold the.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
it's kind of time
You wrote your
consuming.
own modeling software.
Yeah,
for the game.
yeah.
Well, that's why it all looks like it actually was made beforehand.
Exactly.
Is that the same one? You have a
fun-
part of that in the game. The user can the player can make some stuff.
Yeah,
out
kind
of
of a
paper.
very cut down version. Yeah.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Was that authored like on a PC, or did you actually do that using
No, that was
PlayStation?
on. Yeah. I mean, in the early days, we tried to just do it in the console itself, but
Using Dreams. That'd be a great plug for Dreams right now. If you say you made this whole thing in Dreams, this is just a level.
yeah,
in Dreams.
exactly. Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, this is the campaign.
I wish we could have released that editor.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Just having played with Dreams a few weeks ago when they came by, and having played a lot of Little Big Planet and this now, and hearing about the way you author this, it's always interesting to me because I really love the games you guys make, both for the game and then the tools. But as the artist in me just actually wants those tools as well. Like playing with Dreams, I was like, I just have fun. If this was an offline concept art tool and I was just on a PC generating this stuff, or I imagine it'd be a lot of fun to use this sort of papercraft stuff as well, just to sort of make cool virtual things. Like I know my daughter would go nuts for that, kids and
Yeah.
You guys, it's interesting because I always sort of almost want you guys like release those as commercial applications as well because it's
Rex is like, no.
well, I mean, I can understand why you would want to.
Because then
but,
all
like,
little girls would have my power, is what he says.
True.
I mean, we were concentrating for this title more on, all that stuff is there behind the scenes. It was trying to prove out the concept of having UGC stuff, but as part of the main story, rather than it being its own separate mode. And it's something that I think has influenced where Dreams is going as well, of not ending up with a split kind of experience where 95% of people are doing the play stuff, and then there's 5% that have gone off into their own little editor and they're doing their stuff over there to like bring everyone together.
One of the other little things I love about the game is I like the way that the effects are done, like when the little exclamation points go around their head, like when they're alert or when they go off that jump, they've got that trail because they're actual bits of paper, and the way the things sort of in the world animate at a lower frame rate. I don't know if you guys are doing it on 3s or what that is exactly.
Yeah,
but
are you locked?
It's all over the place, to be honest. It's very specific
Per character,
for
everyone's
for
on
each character, just what looks good.
That's great.
It's Spaff, why aren't you frying all that newsprint? Is that? Oh yeah. That's no. Once you start doing that, I'm kind of addicted to it now.
Cleaning up the world.
Yeah, it's very satisfying.
Yeah, I mean
It's your strong organizational nature that you need to put into action.
I just hate journalists.
we wanted with the animation style to make it look, to like call out the fact that it is being animated,
waterfall.
and get a sort of feel that the
ripples are great, yeah.
that the world is almost the movement of the world is like fighting against the material it's made out of. It isn't just not happily, but just easily animated. 'Cause paper is not the most.
It's friction.
There's a lot of emphasis in games on being like super slick and smooth, and there's a nice thing to. I mean, the game's running at 60 frames a second, so the control is really fast.
But you can see it with the camera for sure when the camera moves, and the main character. I don't know, there may be what they're running at, but it's certainly a lot smoother than the characters. I remember. I don't know if you found this to be true, but when we were making stacking, we were trying to animate things to be at like kind of with little interpolation. We originally had that on the character, but found that people got nauseous when the character, that the camera is smooth, but the character was always really low. So we actually ended up smoothing that out, but then keeping all of it lower for the surrounding.
Yeah. No, it's kind of a There's no real formula, I think, in what frame rate things should be running at. We definitely had to sort of just play around with it.
So you modeled it in your own home-brewed construction paper modeler, and then you animated it in a homemade thing?
Yeah, in the same thing. So all the animation is done by actually selecting folds and then animating those folds.
When hearing like that, it makes me think like, oh, how long did you have to wait for that? I'm just so practically like, how long did you have to wait for that tool to get made? Like, you must have been sitting around for a long time.
Yeah,
Or did it come pretty quickly?
It took a while. We spent like the first year of the project just trying to work out what the game was, and we were doing some quite experimental stuff with GPS-based, like location-based gaming. Went kind of a little bit too ambitious and tried to recreate the entire planet Earth in papercraft to scale.
You might as well start with everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And then limit it
down. Until you end up with the good bits.
Do you want to have a go at this?
Select mouths.
I could do.
You know, my daughter first got to this. She
works.
put 2 mouths on the character by accident, and she had a talking mouth on her forehead, and it was very Cthulhu. I liked it.
You can put 2 mouths on?
Yeah, she like double stamped the mouth accidentally, and then there was this other, and it had the same sort of expression animation. It was this on the forehead.
Can you just cover the whole face with mouths?
Yeah. Or eyes.
That's going to give me that weird fear of holes.
Something I really like about our character system is just the way that you can just rip everything off them.
Well, I never thought of taking things off.
Yeah.
So destruction is a form of
Nice.
creation, Tim.
Wow, that's amazing. And that teaches you to shine light in kids'
Yeah,
eyes.
we could make her into Kratos.
There's always a Kratos
Yeah.
in every one of your games.
There's Kratos. And then also, maybe I swap to the app.
Yeah.
What?
Whoa, multiple devices.
I haven't hooked this up yet. So what can you do on the app that you can't do without it?
So when we went to the PS4, we found, although we've got all of the customization options that you could do on the Vita, there was something nice about being able to still use a touchscreen.
finger.
You know, we kind of missed that. So we came up with the app as a way to achieve that, but also so that like a lot of parents had told us how they really wanted to play the game with their kids. You know, it felt like a nice kind of family activity. So the app was really cool to be able to allow like multiple players to play at the same time. And while, you know, one player can be like running around the world doing all the more challenging stuff, someone can be sitting on here taking photos and sending stuff into the game world. So I can
Show off your socks.
Oh, what's going on? Where's the
Like your
camera?
Fingers over the camera.
It's suddenly going to turn into a weird, nightmarish experience.
It's my face.
Oh! Full of handsome.
Why would that be nightmarish
Man.
and scary? It's just my beard.
And then,
Here comes my beard,
oh,
coming to save the day.
You're right, that's not nightmarish.
I'm under the flap. I want to be over the flap. I've got an arm coming out of my beard.
we'll maybe put the eyes on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And a nose.
Some sort of mollusk.
Yep. Nailed it.
That'll do.
It's official DLC.
I think we can also.
Can you make my mouth talk?
I haven't actually played the game in a while.
Oh, Lord.
The reveal of the eyes is really scary.
What we could do is.
Hey, connect this to Snapchat.
Oh, great. Now I'm this bearded weirdo. Bearded Kratos.
You must be an actor.
Oh my god, we're on, you guys.
When does it give you the
You can also use it. Well, I can use the
She was
cutscene
so
map
cute,
now.
and now she is so disturbing.
I'll send some hearts in. Just to make it
How did you
better.
just do that? What did you
Look
just
at
do?
So I just drew them out on the touch screen.
You
Maybe
got
I'll
it,
do
you
it. I'll try and do it. I'm trying to look for
The
a
sheer power.
two-headed baby for reference. Oh wow!
There you go.
Spaffer's sitting on it.
It might be simplified.
Look at Tim, look how weird you look on the screen. There was a great one where he was scratching his head and looking at the camera.
I I was scratching my head?
The character with your face.
Bonk. Bonk.
Oh.
Bonk. Get right there, and then, yahoo!
We did it. What are you drawing? Pretty special.
There we go.
What is
Look at that.
Oh, I see. Okay. I don't know if they're.
We've covered it
I
up
don't know if they
now.
have one of those. Okay.
There we go.
Look at that, babies! Oh man.
Oh, sorry.
Owned by Sony at last. Okay. But that's part of the EULA, right? Anything you create, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you telling me a story, Rex, about how whose paint over was it? Was it your paint over of the boxy world where you drew a little crease in the path, and then that was the thing that Mark Adami really
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because
focused on?
we had a very sort of temporary engine where everything was very boxy. And when Mark joined the project, I was kind of doing some sketches of just how we could make it look less boxy. I just put a little crease in something, and he got really fixated on that and was like, "Oh, that's going to feel so good to like walk on and see it squash." And then he said, "You know, we're going about making this engine completely the wrong way. We need to not be making things out of boxy components like sort of Minecraft style." It's like, what we really need to do is just get back to just making the world entirely out of just sheets of paper, and you will just start with a sheet of paper. And I was absolutely terrified when he told me that, because
I mean, you're trying to, you were using an off-the-shelf editor at
yeah,
first.
well, no, we had our own version
The one
of
that you used for
yeah.
the Big Planet.
So it was it was a little bit of a worry that we would just literally tearing
Mark
everything
Healy
up
or
and starting again. No, this is Mark Adami, who's the engine coder. But it was worth it.
But that's always good when you get the programmers to think of the crazy stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they
Yeah.
can't blame you later. They
Yeah,
can't be like, what's that
exactly.
crazy thing you
Yeah.
thought of? Like, it's...
Who are Mummers, Rex?
Who are mummers?
Yeah.
So mummers are based on an old English tradition where actors would go round to people's houses. It actually sort of predates carol singing. And go around to people's houses and put on little plays for them, and they'd be in disguises and wear masks and
I think
look
I've seen
freaky.
the picture of like scary little children. Is that the one? Like,
That sounds like England, yeah.
they don't have like flour sacks on their heads, do they? Is that-
Maybe, yeah, sometimes. All the
It's like
ones
Wicker
in
Man, really.
yeah.
Or
I mean, the
maybe
Wicker
Eyes
Man.
Wide Open.
Everyone kind of thinks of Tearaway as being this cute, colourful thing, but for me, the biggest influence on making it was the Wicker Man.
The original one or the
The
Nick
original
Cage
one, yeah, not the Nicolas Cage. But yeah, there's
That's a really disturbing
There's hundreds
movie.
of photos
and,
of Nicolas Cage behind all of this
Yeah,
paper.
and lots of bees.
Rip it. I want to see the
Well, here we
Nicolas
go.
Cage.
There's a
So in what way is Wicker
Let's
Man
do
the
us a
influence on it?
completists might want to try and find all the Nicolas Cages in the game.
Crown that line.
Give us a crown.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to do this or that?
Okay, well, we can do it on here first. So I can just draw on the touchpad. On the touchpad we found...
Wow, I've never seen drawing on the touchpad. We always
Probably
just
never
click
seen
on it.
anyone use the touchpad in a video
Oh, you
game.
click on it to get your map, right?
A really big options button. So we can do all that kind of stuff, which we weren't sure if it was going to work. And essentially we just scaled it back and back. Like Siobhan was saying, when she was playing, it was like we had a mode, well, we still have it in this sort of special mode where you can use the stick to move the knife around. But it was really, it lost all of the immediate appeal. And you didn't really make things that look like they were made of paper, because we're kind of clumsy and we've got big fingers and tiny scissors. And so actually just keeping it very sort of bold and simple was really good. So Nathan, who coded this, put a lot of effort into just making sure it kind of draws what you think you drew, and you were just
How does
moving
it read your mind? That's some
just
code.
think of a crown and there it
Smoothing
is.
algorithm always makes
Yeah.
artist lines look better. It's like, oh, look at that.
And I can join in as... Oh, hopefully. I can join in on the app.
So on the app, so my daughter can go here and draw a crown, and I can go sabotage her crown on the app.
Yeah.
And draw obscene pictures.
Exactly. That's what any good parent should be doing.
Well, playing Tearaway on my Vita by myself, knowing no one else would ever see it, I do some bad things on that iota.
Can't imagine that.
I mean,
Lack of self-restraint. So Rex, when I'm watching you draw this and seeing the paper cut things out, I had a question about, a lot of times when artists are creating a project, you start thinking a lot about shape language, right? It's like one of the earliest places you start, like silhouettes and shapes, and sometimes it's based on a particular artist's work or an idea. How did you attach this? I mean, I know you were obviously like inspired by papercraft and the sort of folding limitation, but you also have a very distinct style for your own artwork. Did you try and kind of marry the two? Did you just sort of try and get out of like your old habits of making the shapes you like to shape and really think in papercraft? What was that process like for you?
I mean, for me personally, one of the reasons for going for this world was that because I've got a very hand-drawn, doodly kind of style, to try and create a project where it wouldn't be obvious that I had put my artwork into it, because I didn't want the rest of the art team to feel that they had to ape my style, because that would have been really frustrating for everyone. So we were going for this very kind of blank page look, so that anyone on the team would be able to make something that would fit in with the world. And sort of
and then Tim's beard kind of ruins it all.
Yeah. And with lovely results.
Well, I mean, the concept of the paper crafting is such a strong idea, and obviously is pretty dominant. So it does seem like it kind of would help marry together disparate styles just by the nature of that.
Yeah. I mean,
but when you're doing concepts, did you worry about that too much, or did you just sort of like belt out things because you're exploring ideas? And
a little bit, but I mean, at one point in the project, all of the paper had hand drawn and hand painted textures on them, which looked cool, and it had a sort of slightly like doll's house kind of look. Everything looked very sort of miniature. But it didn't feel bold enough, and particularly as we were doing it on the original game on a handheld device, we wanted it to be as bold as possible, make sure that it's very easy to read in like any sort of lighting condition. You can't really rely on someone sitting at home with perfect lighting conditions. They might be sitting on the train or what have you with a handheld game.
Plus, everyone but artists likes contrast.
Yeah.
So. Or it's like, we're going to use 20% of the value range in 2 colors, and everyone else is like, where's the saturation? I want some more contrast. So it always works.
It's true. More magenta. Crank it up.
Did you guys, in terms of colors, it looks like, I mean, I'm not staring at construction paper right now, but these colors, like that green seems very familiar to my childhood, remembering that stack of multicolored construction paper. Did you sort of look at those as your base colors?
Yeah. So we basically had a very limited palette of, I think there were maybe 20 colors. It was a little bit like when I used to as a kid, use deluxe paint on the Amiga and just have like 16 colors and really try and work out what was the most optimum palette to make the whole world out of.
It's kind of fun doing that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I'm a big believer in of design coming out of, or just having lots of constraints on what you're trying to do. So yes, we picked a palette of paper colours, which it was possible to override them, but only when, particularly, if there might be a gameplay reason that you really needed to call something out,
and the tool would
really
email
stand
Rex.
out. Yeah, exactly.
Someone requests an additional color.
I love those torn edges too, and that like really nice. What makes it really work, all these layers, also is that really you have these nice contact shadows. And of course, in a lot of games with more traditional approach to lighting, it's buzzy, like whether using cascade shadow maps or what have you, and it's just always fighting for resolution. But here it's just like, it's never distracting, and it's always just enough to make it feel like that thing's sitting on the thing beneath it. That must have been challenging to get that looking so good.
I mean, the paper edging is actually 3D geometry that is added on by the engine.
Yeah, it holds up. Yeah, that's also nice. I mean, this was true with Little Big Planet too. I love when you just zoom right in; it always holds up. You don't get that kind of like doesn't break the world because you don't feel like, oh, I've gone beyond the resolution of the screen. It's all smeary.
Yeah.
So, did you say this was you didn't start from total scratch with the engine though? Well, I guess you're working on the Vita. I mean, how much of it was inherited from Little Big Planet 2?
None of it. No.
You didn't build off that code base at all. You just started a brand new engine from scratch.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's almost like after you ship Psychonauts and you decide to build a brand new engine for another
game
that's called Brutal Legend.
Only because we made that engine wrong. Let's make an engine now that we know what we're doing. But I was wondering, like Little Big Planet had so much focus on materials, like the things you build with. There was sponge and wood and all these different materials that really looked like the materials. And I was like, it must have been really tempting to have many different kinds of materials, of paper, and here and foil. I mean, you have a little bit of foil in the Vita version, but mostly it's construction paper.
Yeah.
Like there's not a lot of tissue paper. Or, I mean, there's cardboard. Is there cardboard?
No.
Brown paper? There's like
there'd be
paper
brown
bag paper?
Yeah, no cardboard.
And newspaper,
very
but that's
important. There was no cardboard.
There's glue.
There's a lot of that in Little Big Planet, right?
Exactly.
Because they're like, we own cardboard.
Yeah.
That's our thing.
Floaty embargo on bauxite.
No foil.
I probably, I really had to focus everyone on not putting anything other than paper.
I want to have this fancy origami paper.
And there was a time in the early stages of development where we hadn't got the engine in and that didn't have all of this paper folding stuff. Where it was tricky for the level designers because they're kind of like, well, what can I do with paper? What's the kind of
Where's
what
the
are the
next
interesting what are the interesting properties here? And the first thing was always like, well, can we have fire in the game, and then maybe you could burn the paper, and then you could add water and make the paper soggy and stuff. But it's like someone throws a lit match into this world. That's the nuclear bomb. That's to take out the entire world instantly. So didn't have any fire, and really everyone just had to wait until the engine came to fruition where it could actually do all of these transformations and all the paper folding.
There's fire in there.
Huh?
There's fire in that lantern. I see it. What is that?
It's actually a trapped
What's
firefly.
glowing? That's not paper.
It's an animal.
Yeah, well
Rex.
that's because
Someone
if
snuck that in.
If Spaff takes a photo of it, it will add that squirrel back into the world. That's a kind of missing
Oh, we got a trophy.
element from the game.
What is the missing element from the game?
That squirrel was absent, and you've put them back in by taking their photo.
Scotch on that feature. That was
Nice
Yeah,
crown.
that last little bit looked like it was
I thought
just like the
maybe
Vita
three.
version a little bit. I remember those.
Yeah.
Things you try and jump in, a little barrier comes right. So your last platformer was all physics based. Little Big Planet, which is really different than Psychonauts. Psychonauts is all markup. All the levels are tagged.
Yeah.
And
Physics and platforming is hard.
it is hard, but because you had user-generated content, and you guys had Mark had a history with that kind of physics stuff with Ragdoll, Ragdoll Kung Fu. But this, I'm just trying to look at. It looks like this isn't all the same way, right? This is a little more animation-driven.
Yeah, there's a mixture. Yeah. I mean, the characters are generally animation driven, and then some of the objects that you're throwing around. You start.
Yeah, do I have to?
You have to get the
Yeah.
yeah, which the squirrel has got.
Over there.
No, back that way.
It's weird playing it after doing the other one
So
so well.
you're going to have to get rid of those scraps with your light.
That's what you get for not getting rid of all the scraps.
Oh, I know. You need to throw an acorn at them.
Oh, I see.
I don't know why the acorn hasn't popped out of that little acorn dispenser. Oh, it's probably because you already
I
picked
took
it
it
up.
over there. Like, full. At the
Paper's back.
Oh yeah, the paper came back. So yeah, in Psychonauts, we started with an all physics-based thing, and then as that led to like weird behaviors or like unexpected behaviors, we're like, okay, let's just lock that one thing and just say it's a set distance you jump, and not use the velocity, like not just give the character velocity, but actually let's control the jump, because then the player will know how far they can jump. And then one by one, we kind of replaced every physics thing. I think every physics thing with like an animation-based thing. But you're saying the player controls are still mostly that way on this game, or but that was physics.
That was physics. Yeah, apples are pure physics.
In deference to Newton.
You know,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sir Isaac.
But so your level designers didn't even just mock up; they actually mocked up from the very beginning. I mean, after once the tool was made, in that tool. What's the name of that tool, by the way? Does it have an adorable little internal name? What?
It never got a name.
How could
I always call it our cutting edge engine.
Nice, nice.
That's adorable. But the engine is called. Did you call it the bespoke engine?
It's just the
What's that word
Tearaway
you just
engine.
said?
Huh?
Didn't you say something about bespoke?
I don't know. Maybe.
You used the word bespoke, and I was like, "What a hipster!" That wasn't you. That's not the name of the engine.
That's not hipster.
Or did you just mean
That's
it was
like
a bespoke engine?
Yeah.
You just meant that
Yeah.
it was a.
It's not artisanal.
I
Yeah.
thought that was the actual.
It's a small batch engine.
It's a locally sourced, sustainably produced.
I thought that was your cute name for it. Well,
No.
feel free to use that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will do.
Yeah.
Seems like
Our cutting edge engine.
yeah, it's good.
You must have used a term for where you're like, hey, have you checked that out in the tool? It has a bug.
Because
In
it's- well, I mean,
the tool's crashing.
It's not
today,
like we had
no?
any other engines to differentiate it with. That was we only had one tool to make the entire game, so it's not like you would run any other tool. So you know, you didn't have to give it a name.
So the engine was the tool. It was all running.
yeah.
Okay.
And the game actually was in the engine as well. You know, so it was all just one file. I really like this area along here. Kind of gets the atmosphere that wanted to achieve, where it's obviously a very colourful world, but also it's got a layer of subtlety and darkness in the lighting as well. This whole section is all based on the English, what would you call it, like festival of wassailing, where you sing to the apple trees in order to impress them and make them create a good harvest for the next
Is that
year.
what wassailing is? What's
So
the
you can
song?
get cider.
What's
Yeah.
the song that I know that people talk about wassailing in?
The wassailing song.
Yeah. Why do I know that term? Is it in like a? Is that an?
Because you've been to a
Wonderland?
Renaissance fair in your life.
Yeah, I guess so.
They
I
use that
guess
for anything
It's
involving
obviously
Captain
a-
Morgan's, actually.
past life memory.
You know what's interesting about when I first saw the game, one of the things that I thought was interesting
Was the wassailing?
was the wassailing. No, was the fact that, I mean, you know, my daughter was playing, and in some ways it's, on the surface people are like, oh, it's oriented towards children, right? Of course, some of my favorite children's things are both adults and children. But one of the interesting things is the palette is generally darker than you would have stereotypically have for a children's thing, which I like, but I also assume part of that was because you needed the contrast for the shined light. Was that part of the reason?
Yeah, and also, you know, we put a lot of effort into our shadows and lighting that we just, you know, it's the world without any lighting, like this world is going to look incredibly colourful, but you're just not going to be able to read it very well as a three-dimensional area to explore and to be throwing apples and what have you around. So the shadows are just so key to just giving the world that three-dimensional feel.
I can't tell what you just did. How did you know that was going to happen?
Pro man.
Professional Tearaway player.
Yeah.
Although I haven't played this in a long time. I
You
played
made that
the Vita
acorn
version a
shootout
lot.
and got caught by a bunch of leaves.
Oh, run!
I should send some more photos in.
Yeah. And send some more confetti.
How about a drawing a spaff? Can you do one of those? I'm sure you've done that in the past.
My avatar
Yeah.
is drawn by
It
Rex.
is. That's probably the most widely seen piece of artwork I've ever done. Because you use that
I don't
avatar
know about
on
that.
everything.
Yeah.
Shall we? We could put this
socks again?
this somber garment that I'm wearing. Don't know if that will turn out that well.
It's actually amazing to see. I haven't seen this for a long time.
Where are you gonna stick that?
I hadn't seen the rebuilt version of this forest when I left Media Molecule. It's so nice to see it all
Oh,
Dead.
squashing me in the head.
Go for it. Yay!
distracted by the
You're
texture.
killed.
Where did that texture go?
It's right there on the objects in the world.
Oh,
It didn't work out.
where does
so
it put
well.
it?
See on the
Does it
leaf.
just put it on whatever you're on?
Yeah.
I'm gonna stand
So you
on
can
the-
actually spend quite a while just like customizing the environment. Just have a drab carpet.
It's not that drab, hey.
It's got some stains.
Don't we have that Hieronymus Bosch painting around here? We should shoot that. Put the Garden of Earthly Delights into this.
Whoa.
Oh, gross.
Ruined.
Ew.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a whole new idea for a game about carpet.
Because we were coming at a very similar time to
This is how we can
Until
judge your
Dawn.
UV scale.
Mm-hmm.
we'd often be like sharing press rooms with those guys. So they usually, had some good assets for me to be able to take photos of and add into
Bloody.
Tearaway. Yeah. Let's use a previously taken photo.
Hello.
Wait, what?
So that we can all help you.
That was good timing.
Yeah.
You should do this
Excellent.
boss battle to finish.
Wait, let's finish this boss battle and then
Actually,
we go.
yeah, there's a really nice moment.
We like to
after
end
this.
all press releases, press conferences, demos always ended with a huge explosion. So if you could kill this boss in a explosive way. Wait.
Yeah, I'll just knock some things over there.
I love the music for the scraps.
The
Demented,
music
weird,
I love so
out
much
of
in this game.
tune kazoos
Yeah.
orchestra.
Kenny and Brian did an amazing job on the music.
And the audio of this is one of the secret things, like it just the gentle crinkling of paper, throughout.
Yeah.
Didn't you challenge Kenny to try and make music that sounded like
Yeah.
music that would be played?
Yeah, the original
paper.
brief was that it should sound like all of the characters in the game designed and built the instruments themselves and learned to play them badly. I mean, they made it sound much better than that. So
That's awesome. I really like Tearaway, to sum up.
It's awesome.
It's awesome.
we really love Psychonauts.
Oh my
so,
God, that's so
that
great.
influenced this. So it's so beautiful.
Oh, yeah?
The circle is complete.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Well, thank you for coming
it's
to
been
the
a
United
pleasure.
States for no other reason but to do this Des Play with us.
That is so good.
That should be on the store.
Yeah.
Mouth of Schafer.
It's one of my prettiest mouths, too.